Hello, this is Yogeshwar, and we will be discussing about another very important topic today, which is on Bhava Chalit Chart. Now, you would have seen the main chart, which is the Lagna chart, also called the Rashi chart, in the horoscope you generate. And also, you would have seen divisional charts, which are the D1 or D2 through, there are 16 divisional charts as per Sage Parashara. And this would be a new thing for you, for people who are not aware of Bhava Chalit chart. So, what exactly is Bhava Chalit chart? Now, Bhava in Sanskrit means house. So this chart is a little different than the main chart. However, it's extremely important. Now, first of all, why is this chart different from the main chart? It is different from the main chart because in the Bhava Chalit chart, what we take into consideration is the midpoint of a house. So as you know that there are various degrees assigned to the ascendant as well as to planets, the Bhava Chalit chart will give more importance to the midpoint of that particular house. So what happens is that planets who are especially on the cusp, they get moved on to another house as they were originally placed in the Rashi chart or the Lagna chart or the birth chart which was cast, because the Bhava chart once again takes into consideration the midpoint of a house. So you'll see a Bhava chart will be very similar to the Rashi chart. However, you would see that certain planets have moved into another house. Now, what is the significance of considering a Bhava chart? That is $1,000,000 question. Well, the significance is pretty simple, that we will take into consideration the Bhava Chalit chart for houses, not for a zodiac sign. So, say for example, a planet which is placed in the 10th house in the main chart or the Rashi chart or the Lagna chart, because the Bhava Chalit chart takes into consideration the midpoint of a house, that planet may move into another house. So when we do a prediction, we have to be very careful that we are taking into consideration the house aspect or the planet's effect related to a house when we take into consideration the Bhava Chalit chart. We do not take into consideration the zodiac sign. So this is basically an effect of a planet on a particular house, not on the zodiac sign. So, like I just explained to you, say for example, a planet is placed in the 10th house in the main chart or the Lagna chart, may move into the 9th house in the Bhava Chalit chart. So, how are we going to determine its effect, or how are we going to analyze it? We are going to analyze that planet will affect not the 10th house but the 9th house, because in the Bhava Chalit chart it has moved into the 9th house. So similarly, always study the effect of a planet related to a house when you study the Bhava Chalit chart. So it's extremely important that, sometimes astrologers make this mistake that, well, a planet is situated in the 11th house in the main chart, say for example, and it moves into the 12th house in the Bhava Chalit chart. And a person is thinking, well, since that planet is positioned in the 11th house, it will give in the main chart, it will give effects of the 11th house, which is the house of income. So why is it not happening? Well, the answer is very simple. Look at the Bhava Chalit chart. And in case that planet is positioned in the Bhava Chalit chart in the 12th house, then of course that planet is not going to give the effect of the 11th house, which is the house of income, but it will give the effect of the 12th house, which is the house of expenditure. So that's how astrologers can go wrong in their predictions. So extremely important, study the Bhava Chalit chart. Second point is that the Bhava Chalit chart has to be seen mostly when the dasha or the period of that planet is operating. Of course, it is going to affect during all times, but more so during the period of that particular planet or the dasha of that particular planet. So like I just explained you, that in case that planet is placed in the 10th house in the main chart or the Rashi chart or the Lagna chart, and it moves into the 9th house in the Bhava Chalit chart, then the effect will be related to the 9th house for that particular planet. But then more so importantly, that effect will be more felt during that dasha or the main period of that planet. So always remember that. The third point is that do not just consider Bhava Chalit chart in totality, meaning which I just explained you an example that if a planet is placed in the 10th house in the Rashi or the Lagna chart and it moves in the 9th house in the Bhava Chalit chart, the effects will be felt more related to that planet, related to the 9th house. However, do not take it in totality, meaning which that the effects of the 10th house as well as the 9th house both are going to be felt. So a lot of astrologers make this mistake that, okay, well, first of all, the first mistake is they don't even take into consideration the Bhava Chalit chart. That's mistake number one. The second mistake is that in case they take into consideration the effect of the Bhava Chalit chart, they will give 100 points to Bhava Chalit chart or 100% to Bhava Chalit chart, meaning which they will say, oh, okay, in case the planet is moved from 10th house to 9th house in the Bhava Chalit chart, the effects of the 9th house only are going to be felt. No, the effects of both the 10th house as well as the 9th house are going to be felt. So that is another point you have to take into consideration. Very important. So do not ever ignore the main Rashi chart or the Lagna chart. That stays, that it's an important stays definitely, and you'll see that in your readings. And another point is that, well, there are different kinds of Bhava Chalit chart, and I'm not going into the details of how you construct a Bhava Chalit chart, but there is a Bhava Chalit chart which is called Chalit by some people as a common name, and then there is something called the Narayana Bhava Chalit chart. And you will see, very important, that the Bhava Chalit chart or just the Chalit chart may be different from the Narayana Bhava Chalit chart. And Narayana Bhava Chalit chart is just simply another way of calculating a Chalit chart. So if you see two charts, Bhava Chalit chart and Narayana Bhava Chalit chart, you may get confused as to which Chalit chart or which Bhava Chalit chart you should take into consideration while making your predictions. But always remember that there are different ways of constructing these Chalit charts, and in my experience the Narayana Bhava Chalit chart has been a little more accurate, so take that into consideration. But as a general rule, once again, do not ever ignore the importance of the Rashi or the Lagna chart. No matter whether the planets have moved into another house. Of course, the Bhava Chalit chart will give you the effects of that planet related to the house which the planet has moved into, but not completely. There will still be an impact of that planet related to the Rashi or the main chart. So hopefully you enjoyed this video, and check out the link to my website below and subscribe to my channel, and we will be discussing another topic in our next video. Thank you.